Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Terrestrial Material, where we talk about the material us wrestlers are interested in. This is episode 10. We were going to call it the GUFONIAN Invasion because, as you can see in chat, the GUFONIANs are here in full effect, and so is our wonderful guest, Rich. We're very, very happy to have him here. I don't know how much introduction he's actually going to need because everybody kind of knows who he is, but he's had a channel for quite a long time, of course, as everybody knows, but I don't know if everyone knows that he's been around for 20 plus years recording UFOs and being a part of ufology. And he's had a little stint there in the local news where they did an interview with him and asked him to show some of his footage and what he's been capturing. So tonight with our interview, we wanted this to not be the typical interview where it's all the same kind of questions. What do we think's going on with Grush? All of that news. I mean, we can maybe get to some of that more towards the end, but we wanted to get to know Rich himself more, and just maybe get a side of him that we haven't always seen. So we don't want to make him wait too much longer, of course, and we'll get right over to Steve French, our great co-host, and our wonderful guest, Rich Giordano of GUFON. How you doing tonight, Rich?
Hey, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got off your show. How'd that go?
I did?
Yeah,
I did. About a half hour ago, it was I was all right. It was all right. It went by quick.
Yeah, no, I caught this at the beginning of it, but boy, to set up everything for OBS, it can be a chore. So I wanted to make sure everything was just perfect for it. But not
sadly, I do have the chroma key, so I could have used the green screen, but I can't get into my account. I don't remember the password and didn't have enough time to do all that and do it right. So that's why we're green like this with tape.
No.
My Jicky Jack studio. Actually, there's a studio behind there, but it needs to be painted.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that you had the studio and you were working on it. But hey, I'm sure everybody, like we are, just happy you're here, man. We want to learn a little bit more about you.
I'm sure everybody's thrilled I'm here.
I mean, we are, without a doubt. But
I am.
No, I'm definitely happy for that. What I want to start with, Rich, though, is what was life like for you before ufology?
I was a loser, homeless, didn't have anybody to look up to, no heroes, no parents. It was bad. Nah, I'm kidding. It was pretty good.
I wondered if there was a catch.
Of course. It was just, I'm like everybody else. I was basically in sales my whole life and, did things like that. But I grew up just like everybody else. I played all sports. I had girlfriends. I got married and divorced. That was a good ride. And got into this just by accident. I'm just your neighbor. I'm just the dude who accidentally got caught in something, never knew where it was going to lead. None of this was planned. I didn't wake up one day and said, I'm going to try ufology now. No, I was sitting in the backyard, got a new dog for my wife, and we're looking up, and she goes, "What's that?" And I said, "That's interesting." The next night I went out, same exact time, just to see if anything would happen. And sure enough, it did, pretty much in the same spot. So I was like, it's got to be satellites. Well, I did some research. Nobody saw anything. And, it was 10 o'clock at night. So it made sense. And it was April 14th and 15th. But I met a guy named Jeff Willis, who is an Arizona resident. And he's got more video than anybody ever in history, I believe. Seriously, I'm not kidding. But a lot of it is nothing. It's bupkis. Most of it is. Most of what I have is bupkis. You're only going to get one or two things that are really good, and then the rest is okay, and then the other stuff is garbage. So, but that's it. Regular guy. Got into a field, got interested. Always been interested in aliens and UFOs since I was a kid. My God, I grew up with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Alien. I actually saw Alien in a huge theater with 300 people. It was an event.
Yeah,
it was.
That's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean,
the curtains opened up and everything. It was bad.
Yeah, that is going.
They don't do that anymore. I don't get it.
No, they demolished that. It was the Sina Capri, I think it was called, in Arizona. and it was like 300 people it would fit. It was a beautiful. It looked like a theater. It was beautiful, beautiful.
Wow.
Well, they must have had a lot of drive-ins in Arizona too, right? Was that a thing?
There were two. That's it.
Yeah,
It's very hot in Arizona.
yeah, that's true.
So even at night, it's 95, 100 degrees while you're on the pavement watching a movie in the middle of
Jeez.
summer. Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah,
but
You
wow.
know, yeah,
blacktop too.
yeah. So,
Well,
Arizona was great for the view. The sky is any direction for 60 miles. It was amazing. And I think I hit it just right. I think when I got into it, there was a flap of UFO sightings that were in California and Mexico at the time. So Arizona being really close, I think I kind of sucked up a little bit of that along with that guy, Jeff Willis. So I met him. He told me, why don't you try going out in the daytime? I'll have to get a camera. And so I borrowed my sister's camera. And then after a month, I got my own. But it was a high 8 camera, still have it here. And I have two of them. And I've got 6 cameras actually, two of those, and 3 high def, and another one for making home movies. But you collect these things as you go along. But yeah,
well,
a lot of work went into it. Over 20,000 hours.
wow. Was that
That's a
your
lot.
was that your first camera work you ever did?
Yeah. Well, what do you like? You mean when I was just
When you
recording?
started, yeah, when you started really getting
Yeah.
out there and
Yeah.
filming, that was the first
No,
time?
no, no. Well, for UFOs, yeah. But
Yeah.
I've been behind the camera for a lot of stuff. I mean, I used to be into. I took a couple of courses in college, Introduction to Motion Picture Production. Uh, how to be director. And all that stuff. I did all that cinematography, and so I did want to be a photographer, a movie maker type of guy, but I didn't have the vision or the wherewithal or knew anybody to get into it. So I never followed through with it. It was just something that was on the back burner. And if I ever got around to it, okay, I got around to it, but it wasn't something I pursued.
But it's still something, I mean, you've definitely taken the knowledge you had back then and you've applied it here, so, it was definitely time well spent. I mean, what about your family? I mean, you don't have to go too far into that, but just in the reference of, did your family talk about the topic at all? Were they into ufology in any form?
You mean like growing up?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
No, I mean, they weren't against it. They didn't say they didn't believe it. My dad really, well, he was the one who got me into UFOs by accident at 5.5, 6 years old, maybe even 7. I don't remember, but it was the big blackout of the Northeast. I think it was 75 or 76. It was the biggest blackout they ever had. And that night, my dad went to take the garbage out. And, the weird thing was, I think it was 10 o'clock again. And we go outside, and he goes, "Hey, Bill, what's going on?" And all the neighbors are looking up and talking. You could hear people talking. So I look up and I don't see anything, but there everybody's going, "It's right there. You see it?" And there was a red dot in the sky that was hovering there for about 5 minutes, they said. And then there were a few others along the coast that people reported in Boston, in Canada, Niagara Falls, Pennsylvania, Maine. People were seeing these red lights all over the place. And I think I saw one, you know, and that got me interested at 5.5, 6, 7, whatever it was. Never forgot it. I still see it in my eye to this day. You don't forget certain things, and
Hmm.
that I always remembered. I never, yeah, never forgot it. It's weird.
Yeah. No, I mean, my sighting too. I mean, you can't ever hard to forget that stuff when it makes such an impression on you at that point. It's something you'll keep forever. I mean, what about like interests outside of ufology? I mean, I know me and you have talked a little bit about, MMA, things like that. What are some other things? I mean, because every once in a while you kind of got to get out of this ufology headspace for our own sanity, you know? Where
Well,
where do you
doing
turn to?
doing this the last now 20 years, it'll be in April. I still watch sports. I don't play them, but I work out. I got back into working out again, which I was taking it as something I want to do full time again and try being a senior bodybuilder. But that I've had health issues this year, so a lot of things didn't go. But I am going to be doing ghost hunts in the near future. So I like doing that. I've done a lot of research in Florida. There's a house, two houses only a mile to 3 miles away. So one is only a mile away, the other one's 3 miles. They're right up the street. They're very haunted, but I have to wait till next year. Um, but I like going to the movies, sporting events. I like driving. I have a drone when it was working. I love to fly that thing everywhere. Um, yeah, I'm a nature dude, man. I like being outdoors. I don't have any guns, but yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not Paul Bunyan, but I just like going out and looking for cool stuff to photograph, basically, and document.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, what about the lighthouse that's there in Florida, the big one? I can't remember what.
St. Augustine.
Yeah, have you ever been to
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, we went there. I was there last December, and it's an attraction now. So it's a museum.
Oh
So you
wow.
have to pay to go in during the day, and there was a line of people. We had to wait like an hour and a half to go in it. We didn't, but they do have tours where you could pay something like $80 or $100 for 4 hours or something, and you can tour it and do that. When they're closed after hours. That's what I'm doing with the haunted houses. So I'm setting it up for February, probably next year, to go in the haunted houses.
Did you see anything at St. Augustine, that lighthouse? I mean, I'm sure you've seen
No,
the
we just
footage from
went
them,
up.
yeah.
We just went up to the welcome gate, which was
Oh,
60 yards away from the. It was big, though. I was surprised how big it was, and they must have just painted it. It was beautiful, red and white. It looked really good. But yeah, I think that's the oldest lighthouse in America.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty wild. Go ahead,
St.
French.
Augustine. Yeah, it's beautiful actually in person. I got a bunch of pictures.
Yeah, I used to growing up I had a friend who lived in Lake Asbury, and this was back when he must have been 10 or 9, but we were going to make a big trip with his family because they lived there too, and we were going to go there. And then for some reason, like, they wouldn't allow anybody to like go there for whatever reason.
Hmm.
So it was like a major kick in the nuts, and we were like, oh
Yeah,
man, because he I grew up with him here in Florida. I met him in 4th grade, and then he went back to Jacksonville, Florida, and to live with his dad. So I would fly every summer to go see him and visit him because we kept in touch like that. So we wanted to make the most of like the time that I spent there. I used to spend my summers there, and that was like one of the big things that we wanted to do because it was just so crazy to us as little kids also. And it was like, nope, can't go. And I was like, oh, all right, well, but still one thing I still
that's
want to go in and see still.
hell yeah. You should.
Well, I
I don't know,
feel I.
maybe.
Oh, go ahead. You're so sorry.
No, no, go ahead. It didn't mean much.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say. I mean, I get a sense. Obviously, Andrew Dice Clay fan, right?
Hey, yeah, forget
Who
about it.
who didn't like him? Were you a lot like me, listen to Howard Stern? Through the years. I mean, was he an inspiration to do radio for you at all, or?
The number one inspiration. I listened to every Howard Stern from the day they went on satellite up until just a few years ago. And but no, I mean every day. And that is what I was listening to in every UFO video I have. You could hear a Sirius satellite in the background and Howard Stern interviewing Stone Cold Steve Austin, or just funny phone calls, Richard and Sal. But Howard Stern and then Art Bell. But I listened to Howard Stern even 20 years before satellite, but I'm saying every
Mm.
day. In Arizona, it was hard to find Howard Stern. It was the hours were different, 3 hours different. So I was at work usually when he was on.
Right.
But huge inspiration. A lot of my comedy is very similar to Richard and Sal and what Howard likes. That's why I resonated with that show. And Artie Lang, who I really loved listening to when he was on there. He took what's his name's chair? The Jackie chair. Jackie the joke man. But when Artie was there is when I got heavily into Howard Stern, and I thought a lot about Artie. And Artie's from the East Coast. So am I, people I hang out with are from the East Coast. We find each other. We I mean, when I moved out here in the 6th grade, the first people I hung out with was Richie Rizzo and Carl Colosimo. And it doesn't get any more New York. And they were from Staten Island, where
Right.
I was from too. Yeah.
Right.
Richie and Jimmy Rizzo, Carl Colosimo. Yeah, those guys were good people.
Yeah.
We hung out, we played baseball all through high school together. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, the Artie Lang years were. I think that for me that was peak Stern.
Golden. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was my opinion too.
Golden.
Oh my God, when Richard Simmons would come on that show, I love making fun of Richard Simmons, but I respect Richard Simmons. He's done a lot of good things for people.
Yeah.
But the funniest is when he makes believe he's crying and all, but it looks real. You don't know. He
Yeah.
makes himself cry, but it's so funny. Gary, you know, and he's screaming Gary's name, and then they used it as a sound bite, Gary, you know, and it was just the best comedy. I love that show. Really, really, that was the best of that. Now it's kind of just, I don't know, old hat.
He doesn't have the edge that he used to.
No.
No, he changed. Everybody said he changed. He, you know, he bought into the left's way of thinking and all that stuff. I mean, nothing wrong with that. That's fine, but it wasn't who he was. He just changed. And I think he felt guilty for being the dick he was all those years, which he admitted he was. If you ever read his book, watched the movie.
Yeah.
You know, he did want to make amends to a lot of people. And I don't mind that he changed. You know, he adapted. He changed into somebody he was comfortable being, and that's fine. But the comedy suffered a little bit, I thought. Actually, I was just listening to it the other day, just by accident. I had it on, and it wasn't bad. I missed it a little bit. It's nice to hear his voice. He's
Yeah.
got a great voice for radio.
Yeah, it's almost
Incredible.
like nostalgic at this point.
Yeah,
You know, hearing it on
exactly. It is
the
that.
radio.
It's a
and
good
then it's
point.
like
Yeah.
you go to satellite so you don't have to deal with that censorship, so they can do all the wild stuff and say whatever they wanted. And then it's like had a pretty good ride there for a while, and then
Yeah,
I remember the day, January 6th, 2006. That was when they went live.
I
I
remember
was
my
outside,
dad
back
was
to my
excited.
car. Huh?
Yeah. I'm sorry, I was saying my dad. I remember my dad was excited, and then he was like, "Oh wait, I have to pay for this." I was like, "Yeah."
See, I had mine free because well, I say free, it wasn't. For $150, I went on eBay and bought one that was the demo for the store. And somebody was selling them preloaded every channel. All you do is pay a one-time fee and you have it till the signal is turned off. Never turned off. I still use it.
Oh,
And
wow.
I've got the one you could take with you, and the headphones are the antenna and all that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
crazy.
cool.
Yeah.
I know, right? And now
I-
they come in the car. Now it's in the car when you get your car.
It is, yeah. I still, my wife would tell you, I still listen to the 4 or 5 hour blocks of all the Richard and Sal prank calls to Tradio.
Yeah.
I'll lay in bed at night, listen, and I'll try not to laugh, but I'll shake and laugh and wake her up. She hates it. But my God, those guys were the absolute kings of prank calls.
Yeah.
Of all, never to be topped. Definitely not yet, at least. Yeah.
The only people that rivaled them, and I think it was before Richard and Sal got their peak, was the Jerky Boys.
Yeah.
You know, those guys doing it around the same time. That was 92, 91. I know because that somebody gave me an underground CD. They go, "Have you ever heard of the Jerky Boys?" I go, "Sounds stupid." No. Guy, so he put it in and the phone rings and I just didn't stop laughing. We listened to that thing like 3 times in a row. And then of course I did my own. I've always done prank calls. I've got a dozen of them I can play on the show, and I'm always forgetting them. But I have them in my hard drive. Some of alien soup is one I have, you know, and I try to order some alien soup at the restaurant. They're like, "I don't think we have it." I'm like, "What do you mean you don't think you have it?"
Yeah, they'll go back and check.
Yeah, I go, "You know, the one with the eyes and the feet."
Well, that
Yeah,
now
it's like it
now it's
almost went from like Stern to like Jerky Boys, and then you had like Crank Yankers that came out
Oh,
and
right.
stuff.
Yeah.
And
I
so I
like the
remember
Crank
looking
Yankers.
at Jerky Boys like in must have been like middle school when people started actually like putting crazy stuff on YouTube. My buddy's like, "You ever heard this?" I'm like, "No."
Have
Used
you
to
ever
go
heard
listen
about
to
terrorizing telemarketers?
it. No.
It's a guy who was a soap opera actor. I can't remember his name. It eludes me for some reason, but he is really, really good.
Is
Just
he
look
the-
up terrorizing telemarketers.
Is he the guy, Rich, who talks really soft? He's like, kind of like that.
He
Kind
does
of a voice?
many voices. He goes,
Okay.
Let me show you something. I got a kick a big old can of whoop ass for you.
no, he does that big black guy. He does, no, no, what, I don't know, I don't, what? You know, he does the Southern accent. He does
Yeah.
so many voices very well. And man, the arguments people have with him are just brutal. 7, 8 minutes, people screaming at him, but it's funny. The things he has them say and do, genius. I'm like, wow, that was really smart.
Yeah.
I
No,
think prank calls are a guy thing more than for the girls.
I think so. Yeah.
probably. They definitely
Yeah.
get silly, no doubt about it. When you look at ufology and your just whole time in this over the years, Rich, do you feel that it's changed you at all? And is that for better, for worse? Would you expand on that?
Wow. I change every year. I know when I change. I'm changed. Yeah, of course it changed me. Um, did it make me better? Well, we'll never know, but I can't think of how it would have made me worse. Um, through all of the experiences and opening up to people who don't understand the topic, I got a good inside view of what people really think about UFOs, ghosts, everything over the last 20 plus years, digging into family, friends, relatives at parties and work parties and things of that nature, just talking to them. That to me was the biggest positive in all of it was that everybody I talked to, just about 90 to 95% of people, know somebody who had an experience or had an experience or saw something, but they never told anybody. And, you know, they'll hear me talking to people on the side, you know, I was eavesdropping, you know, you said you're into UFOs. Me, my husband. And you hear that story, and it just, you know, it's good. I mean, it made me more open. I mean, I'm an open person. I talk to people at the grocery store. Doesn't matter where you're at the movie theater. I'm like, hey man, you gonna finish the rest of those fries? You know, I don't. People are afraid of
Yeah.
other people. I'm not. I'm always. I'm able to go out and talk to people without fear. Um, and I think that also brings up, you know, what I'm doing now is that I think people open up to me because they feel comfortable. Plus, I can relate. I can really relate. They, you know, at first they don't know. They're like, "Why are you asking me this?" Those are really interesting questions. Well, I'm in the field, and then I explain to them, and they're like, "Oh my God, I never met anybody who studied this stuff." And then, you know, you have a relationship with that person. You're like, "Wow!" And then you go over their house and you do an investigation for the family free of charge. I've done probably a dozen of those for family and friends.
Wow, I never knew that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
well, yeah, that was early on. Well, those are the days when I did the AZ UFO show, which was twice as big as GUFON. So much craziness back then. It was so I was 36 when I started this field, 38 when I started the show. I'm 55. Been doing this stuff for 17 years, like talking about it. And you think like I used to think doing one show a week for 3 hours was like a lot of work. And then I started doing 2 shows a week, and I'm like, there's no way I can do another show. I can't do 3 a week. That's impossible. Where am I going to come up with information?
Yeah.
Well, then COVID happened. We all got shut down. And what are we doing? Nothing. So why not do the show every night? And that's why I started doing it every night. Um, but yeah, it changed me. Like, I can't imagine in way if I didn't do this, I would be a lot different for sure. I would be different. I don't know how, um, but I don't mind where I'm at. To be honest with you, I think I've learned a lot about myself, questioned my own reality. That's something that I never would have done had I not researched this field. I've tried things that most people wouldn't even dream of trying, just because I'm by myself. Who's going to know? Who cares? Why are you embarrassed? I know it feels weird, but you're by yourself. So I tell people, no matter how goofy it seems, try it. That's why nothing happens for you because you're feeling goofy. You don't feel right. I don't either. But if you do it, you'll be surprised. You may have an answer. You may hear something, see something, feel something, record something. You never know. And it always happens when you least expect it. So,
Well, also, you taking that position at that Arizona job or with the radio show. I mean, that must have been like how that's a leap to take to get into that. I mean, I'm sure you were probably a little nervous when you got in there. How did that job come about?
what do you mean? The AZ UFO show?
Yeah.
Oh, that was just on Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, I thought you had a show that was actually terrestrial. I
No.
guess no pun.
Yeah, it's Blog Talk Radio. That's why. I
Oh,
guess.
okay, okay. Then
Mhm.
I understood that wrong. But I mean, even then, starting out, I mean, did you have any experience prior to that of doing a show?
Not doing it well. Huh, you know, I do stand up comedy on the side, very part time now, but I'm used to being in front of a microphone. I went to college and in high school I did some drama and things like that, but I have no problem talking in front of anybody. I don't know where that comes from. My mother and father aren't good in public, but I am. So I guess those their two negatives made the positive guy in front of the crowd. I guess I don't know,
Maybe.
Yeah,
but
I think those are very unique traits too. You don't find a lot of people that have like unique traits like that. Like people being out in public and just talking to random people, you know. I know because I'm that way too to a certain extent, and it's you go and talk to somebody randomly in public that you don't know, and they look at you like you're some kind of monster or something. It's like, all right, sorry for saying have a nice day, or holding the door open for you,
oh,
or
every
asking you how
time
your day is. It's like, wow, like such a unique trait in people nowadays. It's hard to find.
at the dispensary, I held the door open for a girl as she was walking towards me. She had about 5 more steps to go, and I said, "We can still hold doors for you, right?" She goes, "I guess so." Like,
Right.
but she never made eye contact, never even said thank you.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's if you do talk to somebody, it's like they're looking at something else. If you look in their eyes, they're gonna turn to stone or something. It's like, no, it's okay to like be a social person. Like,
I've been going to the doctors because of whatever lately, and everybody in the waiting rooms or wherever, everybody's just looking down. And me too. I mean, we're all looking at our phones.
Yeah.
mhm.
Nobody's looking up. And that's not a plan. The government planned it so nobody looks. That's just the way it is. It's not a plan for the government to have us not look up.
Yeah, people would
But
just rather sit in their own comfort zone and not have to deal with talking to somebody else for once. It scares people, it terrifies them.
Well, this is a really good segue for this then. I mean, how do you feel, Rich? How has social media itself, how has it influenced ufology overall? Positively, the negative things? I mean, what do you think that's done?
well, for us, ufology was ruined by mainstream media. But to the layman person, the regular Joe Schmo, they don't know. They don't know the difference. They just follow whatever that's being put out there on TV. That's how I feel. But I think, you know, for the most part, they are putting a negative stigma type of feel on every single newscast of something paranormal. They put in the music, to whatever paranormal show. I can't think right now. Having a brain freeze. I'm trying to say what I want to say and it won't come out.
Ghost Adventures, Zach Baggins.
I used to hate that guy, but now he's all right. He grew up.
I watched him
Yeah.
though. I think everybody kind of did, right?
Yeah, the Aaron, he
Yeah.
came out on the one podcast and exposed the truth about it.
Like what? I didn't hear that. Like they fake
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, like all their
Really?
EVP, yeah, all their EVP recordings and stuff, which is
Nuh-uh.
yeah, which is kind of like it sucks, but it's also still cool to watch the show just because of all the places that they still go to.
I know,
They
but
visit
fake
some
stuff.
real interesting, really cool historical places and stuff. But yeah, I can't remember the name of the podcast, but Aaron was on there and he talked about it and the truth and everything.
That makes me really angry.
Sorry.
No, it does because just 2 nights ago I'm watching a ghost video and I thought it was real. I did whatever I do when I look at it, see if it was fake, and I didn't see anything. But this, but it was fake. They debunked it, and I was like, man, I'm getting rusty. After a while, you just look for certain markers that you're used to looking for, and you don't look everywhere. You get lazy because I've seen this, I've seen this. Yeah, I wasn't good at that, but I couldn't believe it. It was really fake, and it looked so good. I was pissed. I'm like, wow, I really bought into it. Nothing is
Oh
real.
yeah.
Nothing that I've seen is real.
Well,
I
it's getting worse too. I mean, when we were talking about the other night on our AI show, where it's just What are
Yeah.
we gonna do when the AI video starts just really creating great shit? I mean, I don't know how we're gonna deal with that. I mean, how could we debunk these videos? They're
Mhm.
gonna get so good.
We won't be able to.
I
They look
agree.
good now.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're pretty much done. Ufology, as far as trying to, we're only a couple of years away from being really difficult to debunk anything.
Well, with that being in mind, I mean, what do you think was like the best decade for ufology?
Hmm. Hmm. I would say the 50s. 50s. I think that, well, if you want to talk about legitimate sightings and videos and some pictures, I would go with the 50s and 60s just for that, and even dipping into the 70s. But I would have to say the 50s because they had some amazing sightings at the Capitol and other places like that, and they were legitimate sightings. And some other things happened, but that was when they had the congressional hearing in 52 or 3, I believe, where they said there was a threat, and the threat was born. And we've been using that threat since, and we have to, or else ufology won't exist. Well, the cover up will exist, but they have to, they need it. Without it, there's no threat to give money to these places that will save us. I can't speak.
Well, like Ryan Graves, like his whole thing he's
Hmm.
putting together. I don't think we need that. The one thing I'll agree with Burchett on is that the evidence is already there. Release the files. I do agree with him on that. That's I think what we have to look out for is more and more money sent to things that we just don't need.
Yeah.
How many whistleblowers do we need to hear tell us about bodies and craft, right? All right.
Yeah.
Next.
So would you say that we're probably in the worst decade for ufology, or do you think there was a worse one than now? I mean, in the last 10 years.
It's the worst. I think we're in the worst decade. We're in the worst year so far. This is the worst year I've ever been a part of. We've had, for ufology, Jeremy Corbell bullshit. I'm sorry if I swore. I didn't mean
You're
to.
okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
We're not monetized yet, Rich. Good. you know?
Yeah, but still algorithm and the
No,
F
I
word,
feel you.
an
Yeah.
S word. Um, so Corbell with his stuff. And then you got Jaime Maussan with his fake stuff. Then you have Grush. I don't consider him a true whistleblower. I think he's just, the whistle. And that was disappointing. And then what was after that? Then you had the Peru attack, which is most likely the cartel attacking the citizens, scaring them to death to stay away from the area. And then we also have the 8 to 10 foot tall aliens in Vegas, the girl on the plane, the crazy plane. Look at all this stuff that was pure silliness this entire summer from February till now. Very, very silly.
Yeah, I always
Nothing to,
say it's go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I always like within the last like 6 months, 7 months, or like even you said the whole year, just there's so much saturation of just nonsense and silliness that it's becoming so much to sift through. That's I mean, if you really think about it, if it's even related to ufology, just because someone says it is, and
Mhm.
it just adds it to that equation of people that do want to do research and everything when you with ufology, and it's like, man, it's just flooded with a bunch of nonsense now. It sucks. It's
Yeah.
hard to depict what's actually worth researching and what isn't, and what could be real and what isn't real. Just getting harder and harder.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's never going to stop. It's just going to be worse. And there's going to be, Corbell's going to be around for another 20 years.
You think he will? 20?
No, well, he could be. I don't know what that. I think that guy. I thought he was going to fade out, but he didn't. He hooked up with Knapp pretty tight. He'll ride Knapp until Knapp retires, whenever that is, maybe 2 to 5 years. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm surprised that Corbell's still around with all the stuff that he's done that had a negative impact on ufology, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, what about UFO disease with him? I mean, do you think that's already starting to kind of show signs of symptoms of that?
Oh, what do you mean by that?
What I mean is, he has these videos that are sent to him, and he's got these quote unquote inside sources, and over time, those will probably dry up. I'm assuming. And then what does he do? I mean, he has this giant channel and he's got, making money and making documentaries and he's got the plug in. At some point, if that starts to fade away, his connection, what do you think he does? Does he get UFO disease and start making up his own stuff to try to
Nah,
keep it going? Or do you think he'll end up, going full hoax grift?
he'll be around. He has connections like you wouldn't believe. There's always something for him to do. He's set, and Knapp has given him the access to those connections. Knapp has, man, I mean, that guy's an investigative journalist, like on another level. He's as good as it gets when it comes to being a journalist. I mean, he's won awards and stuff, so is Linda Moulton Howe. I mean, they're both very good at what they do. But he's given Jeremy a lot of access that he's set. I don't think Jeremy Corbell's going anywhere. He might even run for governor. You never know.
Really?
You
That's
never know.
interesting.
You never know, man.
Yeah.
He's that cocky, he would do something like that.
Yeah, I agree. I was gonna say he does seem like the type that would do something just like that.
Yeah, like maybe he'll think if he gets in, he can make changes,
Yeah.
change these laws. We'll get those whistleblowers. And yeah, all right, good luck.
All 45 of them.
Yeah.
Well, that number keeps fluctuating. It's 30, then it's 45, 60.
Yes.
I mean, it's going all over the place. I still haven't seen a video yet. But I mean, is Art Bell, Rich, is he your kind of your favorite ufologist if you want to put him in that box? I mean, of all time, or do you have someone else maybe, I don't know how you feel about Richard Hoagland or even John Lear. I mean, do you have like a favorite person from ufology in that time that you love to listen to the most?
I never considered Art Bell a ufologist. Because he never did any real research, like go out and everything was given to him.
I see what you're saying.
He's a radio guy, yeah. So, but he did research too. But no, who was for me? I like John Greenwald Jr. from the Black Vault. I like his work. He was my very first interview I've ever done too. So kind of
awesome.
Have that kind of like, yeah. I followed him forever, and I always thought he was super honest and did things the way they should. The golden rule, did things the right way. But I can't really, there's not very many people out there that I look up to. I used to like, I like Richard Hoagland, and I'd listen to him, but I don't know, man. I think I'm a different animal than a lot of researchers out there because I kind of did things backwards. I went into the video and then did the research kind of at the same time. I did it all at the same. Most people are they read everything, and I did too, and saw movies and documentaries and all. I did that too, but not as a researcher. That happened later on, but I guess I did read everything. And then once the internet came out, it was a whole new ballgame.
Yeah.
Well, when all we had, like when I was younger, 15, 16, we just had to go to the bookstore or a library to look at UFOs and wait for the new magazines to come out. We didn't know. So we had to sit there and wait for everything. And then while we're there, you're flipping through all the pages like, oh my God. Remember when the Billy Meyer stuff came out? I'm like, that's amazing. I can't believe that's what UFOs look like. And I'd study it. I'm like, wow, and I believed it. What do you know? You don't know until you know.
It's just how everybody is when they get into this. I mean, was Billy Meyer at least close to your kind of first heartbreak in the topic?
Oh, yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Well, when I was looking at the pictures, I was also looking for strings and everything. I'm like, oh, they wouldn't make them visible in a book or a magazine, right? But you never know. I liked it, but I still deep down said it's too good to be true. Something I've always lived by. And you see the wedding cake UFO in the tree, and then the big pickup truck. I mean, it just looked fake. He used a lot of hallucinating. What do you call it? Deception, illusion stuff. I don't know. What do you call it?
Yeah,
deception.
Deception. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was obviously
magician's tricks.
Yeah.
He knew the trickery pretty good. The laser gun was the thing that finally I looked at that and I went, oh man, that looks pretty bad. I mean, the time period he was in too much, but
so silly.
It is. I mean, do you have a favorite case though? I mean, even if you think it's BS now, I mean, was there one or if Billy Meyer was your one, I mean, that's your one, but you have one that sticks out the most?
Well, there's a few. You know, I like Rendlesham Forest a lot because there was a lot of witnesses. There was the audio from Colonel Holt. You know, there's a beam coming out of it. You know, it looks like it's looking right at me, like it's winking like an eye. You know, there it is going through the trees. You know, so it's very compelling to hear that. I don't think it was faked. I really don't think it was a hoax, like they're trying to say now that it was a prank, you know, and they tried tricking the Americans. Nah, I don't buy it. That's one of my favorite. That Travis Walton, I don't know. They all passed the lie detector tests, which is amazing. That to me, yeah, I think that something happened. It's just not what we think. Something happened though.
But why do you think this is what's kind of happening in ufology right now, Rich? Where you have the guy from Ariel School, the kid who's now coming
Oh,
out saying that didn't happen, and you have people like you mentioned from Rendlesham Forest saying it's a hoax, and the list kind of goes on and on. I mean, do you feel that it's just we're not getting any evidence, so people are just searching for some kind of answer to dispute it, or what do you think they're doing?
nah, people are tired. They're just trying anything to get that 15 minutes of fame, I think.
Mm.
So it was a shiny rock. I mean, who heard of this guy until then?
Yeah,
That guy was never around. Out of everybody, one guy is saying he created all of that. You know what I mean? Come
yeah.
on, man. That I don't know if the government got to him and said, "We'll give you 10,000 or whatever their money is if you say this the next time, you know, what if it's brought up." I don't know, man. It's just people just say stuff. People are weird and they can't be trusted. I mean, that's the problem with this field. Every time there's people like that, and then you got on the other side of that spectrum the people who over believe, you know? So you got to find a home in the middle somewhere comfortable. The
I agree with
reality
you.
is,
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
I think a big fear for me is that when the skeptical side decides to leave, I think that's truly when ufology dies. I mean, if we stay just full true believer, I don't know how we're going to get into any truth. I mean, that's what I think the death of ufology looks like. What does death of ufology look like for you?
it looks like it does now. Pretty close. Um, the death of ufology is disclosure. That's it.
I like that statement a lot, actually.
It is, you know, it could be a good statement, but
Very
on
good.
the other side, is that the beginning of it? You know, because now we're going to learn everything about them. Ufology's just gone to another level. We're going to learn all about their ships, you know, about their culture, where they come from. Ba, ba, da, ba, da. I don't know, but I like it the way it is right now because I want to be a part of that first time seeing the aliens or the first time they tell us the truth. I want to be here for that. I don't want to be dead. I want to know. I want to know.
I think even
Don't
if
you?
I do. I
Yeah.
mean, I think even if we die, though, I think my opinion, if when we die,
Mm.
we'll know the answer, though. I don't think we lose out on it. I think we get every answer when we die.
Well, you're optimistic.
I'm young, Rich. I
You're
haven't.
my age when I started.
I know, I know. Well, I mean, you make a really great statement. Disclosure is the death of ufology. That's a T-shirt. That's a mug. That's a bumper sticker. I mean, it should be everywhere. Would you disclose though if it was up to you? If you knew the truth, if they brought you in and showed you the bodies, I mean, would you disclose?
Well, there's a lot that you unwrap with that, man.
Yeah.
It's not an easy answer.
No.
Uh, because as soon as you tell people something, you have to tell them everything. Because how do you stop the questions? Okay, you got an alien. Where does it come from? Oh, where's that? Oh, can we live there? Oh, are there more coming? Oh, they live here. Oh, where do they live? Oh, what technology? Oh, they're exchanging bodies for technology. They abducted me. I didn't even know. We all have implants. I mean, it'll never end. It just keeps going and going. And that's why I say you
Yeah.
can't be a little pregnant. You can't have a little disclosure. It's either all or nothing. And that's the problem with this field is that people keep saying disclosure is going to happen. Disclosure is going to happen. Well, why? Why do you think that? Because we're talking about it? Oh, okay, whatever. That's all they say because
Yeah.
people are saying it's going to happen. Well, Why? Well, you'll see. Well, who? Whistleblowers. You just nobody knows.
It's the attempt to scrape the surface.
Right? Yeah, that's what it
It's really
is.
all it is.
If you
And
were
I'm
go
sorry, I think I missed the point of that
No,
question
no.
originally.
No, I think you nailed it. I mean, if you had to, if you were going to though, I mean, if you were really going to open that Pandora's box, how would you roll it out? I mean, have you
Oh,
ever thought about that before?
yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I did a whole show about it. Well, to be honest, how I would do disclosure would be very, very good. It'd be a 2-year process, and everybody would learn all at the same time. You would have a 24-hour network that's worldwide that teaches and answers the questions about the alien species we've made contact with. So we have the people who know everything about the aliens because they've studied them for 20 years. They're on their way here. We're going to meet them in whenever, but we've got a 2-year learning process that everybody on the planet must go through, must watch, sign, and understand if these I almost said animals, if these creatures come here, and who knows if they have to share the planet or hover above or whatever, we're going to have to coexist, it sounds like. So if that's the
Mhm.
case, I want to learn and I want to teach everybody through television, through the internet, every day have a course, maybe once a week. You repeat the course over and over and over, and then the next week you have a different course, and then they are on a total loop. So anybody who didn't see the week before can come back and watch it, and then they can sign off. And the reason I would do it that way, because I want the people of Earth, I want them to have an understanding, and I want an initial to know that they understand these are aliens, they're friends, they're not going to be our enemy. And I want their promise that they will do whatever it takes to treat them as an equal. I know that's probably not in the Constitution, but neither were aliens. So this is it would be a new beginning, and I would have everybody learn in detail about these aliens before they get here. And then we learn about their ships, we learn how they raise their families, whatever it is. Everybody on Earth is going to learn, sign off on it, and accept them to be. And then they come here and they kill us. But, that's neither here nor there. No, but that's how I would do it. I would roll it out as a 2-year thing, get people acclimated to it. Because the first year, people are going to lose their minds. And then after that, it'll become old news. And then now the aliens show up and everybody's like, all right, I'm ready. Come on. I think that you wear us down with information and you overflow the information to where we know it. Like we know the Kardashians, something like that. And I think people would be really interested in learning about aliens. And after a year, it'd be old news. We'll be acclimated to the idea. And then another year to wait. I think it would work if you did it right.
I agree, 100%.
Man, I felt like I was going on forever.
Hey, go
No,
on forever. I'm interested. It's good
because
conversation.
you pretty much like perfected like just some random thought that Ice Cream and I talked about. I think it was last week. It was academics like in school,
Ah,
and we were talking about like history. So like we talked about how history repeats itself, and we have history classes and stuff, and we also talked about like, well, what if there was a separate like history book and it was all about aliens and everything, and would it soon be incorporated as like a regular academic class? And yeah, what you just said is like, I think it's like perfect, honestly. I mean,
same
it would
type of
have to,
thing.
yeah, it'd have to be something like that, to where you have to basically have your pop quizzes and everything and get it in your head, and not be afraid or scared, and have an understanding, much like anything in life. It's the whole point of like school, is to learn knowledge, and we have these academic classes and stuff. It's the same thing, it's just a whole new category.
Yeah, acclamation I think is probably the best route to go. The problem is that I just don't feel the government ever really wants to do that. I just don't see that kind of a push from the DoD, anyone like that. And as far as like getting a whistleblower, I mean, it'd be great for the people who are kind of conditioned to the topic and to know what's going on. But I think that if we have to learn that way, we have to learn that way. But it could cause a lot of trouble down the road. The one thing I agree with Tom DeLonge about was when he said, it's probably not a good idea if you're going to teach your kids about ISIS just to show them a beheading video. You probably have to take some time and go through. And even with all the trouble with TTSA and stuff like that, I mean, I still think there are good things that you can pull out of there. And I think that was kind of a good message that he meant. But after all these years, Rich, can you even believe that we even went to Congress the way we did at all?
The way we did, yeah, I can believe it. The way we did, I
Okay.
believe it. It would not be the way I would do it.
How would you do it different with
Oh
Congress?
man, a lot more professional. Let's just say that, be a lot more prepared. Remember that first time?
Yeah,
They couldn't get the 0.8 tenths of a second video to play.
it
It
was
took
pretty
them
bad.
literally what 7-8 minutes to get that video set up, and it was terrible. Not only that, but it's all stuff we've already heard. I don't know. For me, it was. But what was the question again? What was
Just
the question?
you're all right. You're right. Just as far as getting to Congress at all. I mean, after all these decades
Oh,
of
right.
cover up and everything else, are you just surprised that we even got to this point in the race?
No, no, not really. Because Greer tried it. Greer in 2001 had the Disclosure Project, and then you know what happened. Just weeks later, we had the attacks. So that fell to the wayside. But that kind of opened up the idea that we should be having congressional hearings. And for the last, when I was in this field for the first 10 years, 15 years, nobody talked about it. Nobody, very rarely. Only Greer, maybe Dolan would have brought it up. We need to have congressional hearings. That didn't get really any movement until Lou and TTSA kept bringing it up. And I think they did have something to do with getting it pushed and getting it out there and having the congressional hearings. It's very possible. I didn't think it would happen, but I would have done it different. I don't like the way it happened because we got a nothing burger out of it. And
Mhm.
I thought maybe we would get something. Nothing. We got nothing. So
Yeah, I mean, as more and more the credentials got better and better over time of these people that were coming out, like Elizondo and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I can understand the buildup. I always think, Rich, there's everyone. It just feels like they need to admit, even the most ultra skeptics that are possible, whenever this stuff comes around, we're in the field, we're looking into the stuff because we want it to be aliens. We want the fun. We want to have a little bit of that hope. We can't. We have to admit that we have some interest in seeing the ball move down the field, where I feel like a lot of the skeptic side nowadays is pushing more towards just no aliens, there's no nothing. I mean, everything's just our own tech. And that begins to make me question why people are still here with a lot of those things at this point. No.
because a lot of people have experiences and they know something is amiss, something's wrong. I know what they're telling me, I know what I'm seeing, but I know better. I think that's why people are around. They know. People just have this feeling. I don't know. That's are you just talking about
It just
us type?
yeah, most, even a lot of the skeptical community now, it just feels like everyone is, maybe it's just because we're so let down, especially with the gross drop and the ball situation. Is that why we're just reaching to maybe there isn't anything here, maybe this has all been a nothing burger altogether? Rich, I feel like people are just forgetting the history, you know like Elizondo and all the trouble that went on with them. Like, they're not all of ufology. Brian Graves and Fravor and all these people, that's not all of ufology. That's the last 8 years. There's 80 other years here that I think people are forgetting.
Well, that was Lou's intentions, was to start ufology over in 2004 with the Nimitz incident and forget about the history. Why? I don't know. But that the history is where all the good stuff is at. Because, people weren't faking like they are now. And there's some real
Mhm.
videos out there that are being dismissed now that shouldn't be. But yeah, things have gotten worse. I don't know where I was going to go with that. But yeah, that's why we have the threat, because of Lou. And without the threat, you can't get the funding. Without the funding, you can't have the black budget programs and secret da 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 da. It's all for a reason we don't understand. All this is happening for a reason. Like, but what would it be? It's weapons. It's always weapons. It's always money, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, you say aliens to anybody that has no background knowledge, no research or nothing in ufology. That's the first thing they think about is weapons, danger, stuff like that. And because it's something that's easy to be monetized on. Unfortunately, it has been for, generations and generations. Always is.
Do you feel though,
I,
Rich, that it's a social media issue though? I mean, there's been people that we've seen over the decades come out and proven that what they've said is probably not the case, but it hasn't instantly pushed us towards the area of nothing is real going on here. Do you think it's like social media is just like speeding this up, or it's just giving us memory loss because we're always so go to the next topic? Or
Social media is the worst when it comes to ufology anyway. Anything they say, they don't know what they're talking about. They're just reading it off their script. That's the truth. I mean, I know these people. I know some of them. I know they don't do the research to know any better. So of course, the mainstream media is just getting the story, making fun of it, a little chuckle here and there, and hey, is it real or is it not? You believe, and then that's it. And then no follow up, nothing, and that's not reporting. They don't follow up on UFO stories anymore. They'll follow up on other things, that have nothing to do with anything. But UFOs and aliens, that's I don't know. It's real important, I think, if you want to follow up to know if history is going to be made in your neighborhood. I don't know. Of course I'm biased towards wanting the mainstream media to do that, but they'll never do it. Well, I can't say never. It's just whenever they're told they can do it.
yeah, I mean, if we don't get disclosure, because I'm if I'm right, you don't think we're ever going to get disclosure, right? You're a lot like me. You don't the DoD is probably never going to come out and tell us.
Never.
So
Can't.
what would you like to see happen to ufology over the next 15, 20, 30 years? I mean, where do you?
Oh, well, they can show us stuff, right? But they
Yeah.
don't have to tell us everything. Just show us the pictures of the UFOs or the videos you have. Tell us you're finding ways. Tell us that you're finding out how to communicate, or how to, if they're all dead, where did they come from? We're still finding all this stuff out. But if they do that, then people will just lose their minds. That's what I think. Eventually, people are going to figure out where they think they're holding the aliens or the UFOs, and they're going to maybe try to go there. And people will fly their drones there. They'll do all sorts of. That's what I think. If the government comes out and says that, because now that's proving that aliens exist. That would make me consider wanting to try to do something, man. I mean, I want to see them. I want to look at them eye to eye. I want to see if it's real.
I mean, it's already happened to a small scale. Remember back when the raid Area 51 thing
Well,
happened
I
all over
know,
social
right?
media, and that's so just imagine that times 10 or whatever, to a massive scale.
That was getting out of control now.
Yeah.
They had like 1 million people responding to it, I think.
Yeah.
It just took off. Yeah. I think 2,000 people showed up there, actually. Not a
Yeah, there was
lot, but
yeah.
yeah.
There was like a list or something like online where like people could actually like check in essentially for the raid
Oh,
of Area
really?
51. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Super wild.
Isn't the
Just,
gate at Area 51 though that they were all standing at? Isn't the base still like miles away from there though?
I think so.
Yeah.
I
It's a
don't know.
couple of miles in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
2 to
gotta have
5
some
miles.
endurance to make that run, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
you
how
won't
would
make
they
it
do
4
it?
steps.
They would have to do the serpentine, right?
Yeah.
Just
Well, what if let's say the government did want to end the cover up and they wanted to end it quickly? I mean, do you see a reason of why they would maybe feel that they had to end it quickly?
to end the cover up quickly. Why would they end it quickly? That's an interesting question. If they ended it quickly, I would think two things or more. The first thing would be they know something is about to happen. Maybe the aliens are going to show themselves in the next day or two. You know, if that was their case for doing that, to get us somewhat prepared, or it is
Oh, you're cutting out a little bit,
we
Rich.
don't know about. Huh?
You're cutting out a little bit.
What?
Your camera mic
Oh,
combo. It's been beautiful so
oh
far, so
no,
I
I'm
don't
sorry.
know.
Probably
It's like-
OBS does it to me every episode.
yeah, it could be.
It could be me too. How's it now?
No, it's fine now. Fine now. Well,
What was the
now it's
last thing I
slow.
said?
Now it's slow again. Oh, as soon as I say it's fine. I mean, you know how this goes. Every time I say it's fine, it's
Oh,
gonna go out. So,
I'm gonna just look real quick. Go ahead. I mean, what was I saying? What was I saying?
interesting
I don't
question.
remember.
Why, why would they have to end it quickly? Maybe because they know something's coming, or
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. So that's it. Yeah, it's either there's an end of days scenario en route. I would think that would be like just like in that movie where I don't know who said it, but he's like, "Yep, the aliens are here. We've got them hidden, and we're gonna release them. And anybody who's left out, because I think it was the last 2 days on Earth or something before the asteroid hit. But that would have to be it, I think. Or uh, the aliens are going to do something that'll you know, force us to disclose something. I don't know.
Do you think
But
people
my
kind of have
computer's not running
a
slow.
sense like that right now that like something big is coming? Whether it's general public or anybody that's in, the field of ufology. Do you think there's something more than before currently where people are getting that feeling? There's like that kind of buzz, like something big's gonna happen.
Yeah, there is a buzz. I even said it at the beginning of the year. I felt like this was going to be a year of something imminent. Something's like UFO, like a Phoenix Lights type of event, the Lubbock's Lights or the Capitol in 52 or 3, whenever that was. Something that will get the world's attention is imminent. But here we are in October. We got under 90 days to go.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid, man, it ain't going to happen. But a lot of people think the last 3 months of the year, something's bound to happen. Of course, you have the only 3 months to go. What else are you going to say?
It's like the cops
Oh,
meeting their
it
quota for
never
the end of the
ends.
month. They gotta make something happen.
Exactly. How many people we got to beat up to get our quota?
Right.
I'm sorry, you meant tickets. Oh, okay.
no, no, no. Yeah, no,
I was thinking.
I agree, man. I think that as we get closer to the end of the year, I mean, people are gonna want more and more information. I mean, even if the alien mummies from Peru are fake, it's still stuff that's getting people interested, and they're gonna want that next dopamine hit, and so they're gonna have to provide
No, don't say that.
it.
Don't say that. No, this is bad. See, Jeremy Corbell's got us saying that. Hey, it's okay if I put this up there. Flares, remember his 29 palms, flares or a big ship. At least we're talking about it. At least we're talking about UFOs. No, let's talk about UFOs based on a foundation of truth,
Yeah.
not of lies,
I agree.
man. See, but I understand it. I get it. We're talking. Hey, either way, we're talking about it. No, but we're not talking about it the right way. That I don't like when it's on the vein of a negative foundation instead of it being on a positive reality note. You just can't have it both ways, I guess, but we are doing it. They see things a certain way on their side of ufology. I see things differently here, and everybody seems to have their own idea of what ufology is. And I don't know if that's based on just because of our personal experiences, our research capabilities, or anything that we can find out, which makes it valid for us. But I don't know if you guys will agree, but isn't it just personal beliefs really what it all comes down to? It's what your personal experiences are.
Yeah, I think it has a
No?
lot to do with it. Especially like for someone like me, I can personally tell you, like I used to be into ufology and everything, and then I quit for quite a few years, and I'm coming back into it. So, I'm doing my own research as much as I can. I'm tuning in to people like you, I'm listening and watching videos from like Greenwald and stuff, and getting, everyone's opinion that I can to form my own and coming back into it. So I think it's a big part of it. I think if you don't do at least that, if you don't dedicate just a little bit of time into doing your own research and stuff like that, it's going to be troublesome for you.
It's just it's one of the most difficult subjects I've ever seen. Um, People get so angry if you don't believe what they believe in. And I don't know, man. I mean, I don't get mad when people don't believe in what I believe because I feel confident that I'm right in what I believe in. But it's what I believe in. And you should feel the
Right.
same way about what you believe in. And don't get mad at me if I don't believe. It's just, I came from a different place than you did.
Hmm.
Maybe someday we'll meet in the center and agree on it. We just didn't get there yet. And that's what I think is going on in ufology. Everybody's coming in from different places and they all have their own idea of what it is or what it should be. And then the people who've been in here a while know what it is and try to tell them this, but they don't want to hear it. And I think that's okay too, because they're going to learn the hard way. It's just going to take them longer, just like it took me longer because I didn't listen to anybody. I did everything on my own. I thought I didn't need help, but I did. We all need help. And if you don't want it, you're going to, man, you're never going to get it. I don't think
Hmm.
you can't go through this field just on your own thoughts and think that you're right. You just can't do it. I don't see
Agreed.
how.
No,
No,
my
well,
rule
you
of thumb is, oh, go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say you can't get to the truth that way. I mean,
Hmm.
you can find the echo chamber, you can find what you want to hear, but as we've learned right now, whether you're a skeptic, full true believer, I mean, you're not getting really what you want. Still, everyone wants the video, everyone wants to see the craft, everyone wants to see the bodies, and neither side is getting it. So I don't know. This has been my kind of thing. Is I feel like ufology has just compartmentalized itself, and if that doesn't work for back engineering programs, doesn't work for the government, how's that going to work for us? I think we need people like Greenwald. We need people like McWest whether you agree with them or not. I mean, you need people to hold feet to the fire and look at these videos, and that's why I would say people like you, Rich, too. I mean, I you gotta support a skeptical view. It doesn't mean we don't think that there's aliens possible. It doesn't mean we don't want your abduction case to be true. We just want to be able to put the facts out there and get down to the bottom of it. And I think these people like yourself help people that may not enjoy that more than they realize, that you're really on the team trying to get them
Yeah,
the answers, but they just don't see it that way because the instant resonance is just not, yes, I believe you, and that's it. You know?
I know. And they don't want to know because they don't say, why don't you believe? They don't say that. They just like get mad and don't want to talk. As soon as you say something that's not in their wheelhouse, it's like I can't talk to this guy. I'm like, I don't all right. Hey, that's fine. You'll learn eventually. And I know that eventually they will.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Like you just have to be a sponge. You have to absorb everything from everybody and come to your own conclusion and opinion. And if you don't agree with someone else's, that's fine. You don't have to, but also can't get mad, like you said. Like, whatever, that's fine. You don't have to agree with my opinion or my beliefs, but this is the same topic. You're allowed to have, you know, all these other opinions on such a never ending, expansive topic in general. So it's like people don't think that way, though. That's the problem. And I think it travels all the way up, to like government and hearings and stuff like that. And all the stuff with like NASA and everything and the questions that they were asked and everything. It's people get upset and other people don't get upset. It's like, no, it's just one of those things. Like everybody eventually has to kind of meet in the middle, because if it does come out that it is true and there are ETs and there is, technology that we've been backwards engineering, and it has to be rolled out to the public, everybody has to be on the same page. And I think it all starts from like the beginning of your research, until whatever, if it is disclosed to us or not, it's fine. But it all starts, I think, based on your research, and you have to have that open mindedness and absorb every angle possible. Almost like what you said too, the 2-year plan. It's the same thing, you know?
Hmm. I
Well,
always say if you're getting in this field, you won't know anything till 5 years. It takes, and I've seen it. It takes 5 years because you need to get hurt once or twice. You need to be told disclosure is going to happen, and then it doesn't once or twice. And then you're going to have to meet somebody who said that they can do something, and then they never do it. So you have to get hurt a few times. It takes about 5 years as a true researcher to get to that level. Um, and then after you're in it for 10 years, you're a veteran. And then after that,
You
what do
just
they
wait.
call us? No, they call us experts, but we're not. I was
Yeah.
going to say something else and I totally forgot.
Well, here's the thing. How about besides Greenwald Jr.? I mean, do you have any other?
Yeah.
Because I wonder sometimes what you watch from time to time, Rich. You have any other channels that you would recommend for people? Just like Greenwald?
I don't watch anything.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
No, I watch my friends. I watch you guys. I watch Amy. But when I'm going around looking for clips, I'm looking for mainstream media stuff. Things on the news. I don't go to anybody's podcast to look for information, so I'm
Right.
not listening to anybody else.
Okay.
It's everybody's got a show from 1 hour to 2 hours to 3 hours.
Yeah.
For somebody to sit through even 2 hours, it's remarkable to me. But I being in the field so long, what is somebody going to say that I haven't already heard? And most of the people I've seen, I've heard them, and so there really isn't much for me to want to listen to. Like, what am I going to do? Listen to Jimmy Church? No. What? Dolan? No. Linda Moulton Howe? No. Stephen Greer? No. Jeremy Corbell. I like Weaponized. I'll say it right here. I like Weaponized.
I watch it
think
too.
it's
Yeah.
it's a good show. You get to learn a lot about what they're up to. And that's what I need to know, what Jeremy's up to. And that's the only way. Because it really is. And I swear to God, any God, alien or not, whatever, I'm telling you, he and George Knapp are disinformation agents. Honest to God, I say that and I look into the camera and I'll tell the world I really believe they are giving us the wrong information on purpose. And I don't think it's all negative. I think it's even more positive than negative. Because Jeremy Corbell's not showing us UFO videos because he can't. That would be illegal to get that information from the military and then disclose it to the public. What he gives us is stuff that looks like the UFO videos. So he can't get in trouble. That's why we got the flares at 29 Palms. Oh, it looks like one ship. No, it doesn't. And then you got the radar. Oh, there's 6 of them and they're all flying in amazing maneuvers. No, there's only 2 and they 80 miles an hour. So I don't see that. And then you got, oh my God, it's a pyramid in the sky. No, it was Boki or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
So everything looks like a UFO sighting in the military, but it isn't. And that's the disinformation. But why? Why would he need to do that? Why would the military need to do that? What's the purpose of giving Jeremy Corbell non-UFO videos to call them UFO videos if it's just the same thing that we would have seen if it was the real UFO videos? Why not just show us the real thing? So it bothers me that he's doing what he's doing and I can't figure it out. So in my opinion, I think he's a disinfo guy because all of the UFO stuff, anything that was related to UFOs that he's given us isn't what it is. It's been debunked, every single thing he's ever given us. Why? Why? And why are we still talking about him? Why is he still being on the news?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but he's the guy. I mean, I don't know
But
why.
why?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a good question.
I don't
But
know
if
how you
all
pick
of
that.
them see, this tells me that the media doesn't do their research, or they would know that every one of Jeremy Corbell's UFO videos are bullshit. And they don't figure it out after like the third one. They're like, I heard about this guy. Oh, he's great. He gives fake videos. Oh, let's use him. It doesn't make sense. Oh, and then they keep using those videos of his in promos and other stuff. New. Oh, we're gonna show UFO videos, and they always show that green piece of shit.
That's the worst part. That's the worst part.
And it's all fake. Yeah.
Yeah, the Boca video they always show is the worst part. But I mean, they've never taken it seriously in mainstream media, even though sometimes it looks like it. It's still never taken that seriously, and they're kind of, in my opinion, rolling back the other way. I feel like yeah, they're kind of laughing again. The X-File music is going to start coming back
It
again.
has.
Which, you know what? At the end of the day, Rich, can we blame them? I mean,
Nope.
we still haven't given them anything that's real.
Nope. Everything's stupid. That's why they treat us as such.
Yeah.
Which I mean is fair, right? Play
Yep.
stupid games, win stupid prizes. I mean, that's
We deserve what we get. It's true.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Mhm.
ufology's dropped the ball tremendously, man. I mean, no matter what you want to say about Corbell or whatever, they got in front of Congress with someone who wasn't a first-hand whistleblower. We can't keep doing that. We can't keep debating these people. Oh, we're gonna give it to you later. A lot of these Congress people, they're not gonna sit around and wait. They're busy, man. It's like I hate to
Oh
hear
my God.
I hate to hear that the ICIG hasn't really looked into the stuff, but god damn, I can't really blame them at the same
No.
time, Rich.
So many other things.
Yeah, it's tough, and I wish they would. But what would be the final straw for you at this point? What would make you give it up for good and say, you know what? After all this time, I'm done. You know, I'm not gonna look into this anymore. We're never gonna know.
I say that every day, and that's not a lie. I really do. I say I quit today, and then I don't. That's how I. That's how much I hate, and that's how much I love this field. I still feel the final straw will be me when I don't want to do it. There's nothing that they can do that they haven't already done. If they told us, even if they said tomorrow we're going to have disclosure, and then they said no, we changed our mind, I wouldn't be like, oh, you bastards, that's it, I'm done. I'd still be here because that's a story, and that to me would be interesting for a week. Um, nah, there isn't anything they could say that would get. I don't know. I mean, that's a great question. I never thought of it. What could they do or say that would make me drop everything? I'm beyond that. No, there's nothing. That's the answer.
You
I'm not
want to
going
just
anywhere.
see it through, like kind of like Greenwald said, he's never gonna leave. He's never gonna leave. He's just gonna see it
Yeah.
through.
You know, April 15th will be exactly 20 years for me in this field professionally, whatever that means. And I was deciding whether to continue or not as doing GUFON and everything because I wasn't feeling good when I was thinking about that stuff. And when you don't feel good, you just don't want to do anything. So now that I'm feeling better, I don't know. I think I'm going to stick it out. I think I'm going to stick it out till I can't do it anymore
That's what I like to hear.
because I still think something is coming for me that will give me the opportunity to be heard worldwide. I
I
don't
mean,
know when.
well, I mean, is that really your? I guess I want to ask you, what is your main goal for your show? What has that been? Is it just to get your thoughts out there, or do you feel like you've wanted to maybe hope to get a movement going? I mean,
I've had a lot of reasons to do what I'm doing. The AZ UFO show was when I first got into the field was to show people my stuff, what I was catching when I first got in the field the first year. And then I met Jaime Maussan and saw the bullshit like you wouldn't believe. And I had to talk about it. And as soon as I did, other people started disclosing to me what MUFON did to them and what this person did and what Casebook did and what Jeff Renz did. And I was like, the whole shit freaking field is it's it's corrupt. This whole field is corrupt. Nobody verifies anything anybody says. I've given these people a dozen sightings and they're all like, great job, Rich. And nobody said what kind of camera, what was the weather like, even though it's all in the report, but nobody gives a shit. They just want the clicks and views, even back
Mhm.
then. So where were we going with that?
no,
If
I'm
I
just
speak
asking.
more than 13 seconds, I forget.
No, you're on a roll. I mean, I was asking, what was the main goal? Just to get your thoughts out
Oh,
there? Was it to
so
start a
yeah, so
movement or?
right. So my main goal was to talk about the things, the corruptness in the field. That's what it turned into. And and uh and it's been going ever since because the corruption never ends. Isn't that what you were asking me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What keeps me going?
Well, that too. I mean, what's the main source? Is it just never ending want? I mean, just I don't know. Maybe we just like getting hurt. We do or something.
I
Maybe there's
I
some.
can't be heard anymore. I feel now at this point that I have a responsibility to the community. And I still have another chapter in my life. I've got all my videos that I have to showcase to the world. And all I need to do is get them to capture them and put them on the computer so I can edit them, and I can't get anything to work. And I'm having issues with that. So, I've got all these tapes and hours of sightings and things I could teach. See, that's what I really wanted to do with GUFON. I wanted to show people how I realized, because every video I have, it's like a teaching video. I talk through it. I show people I'm walking here, I'm carrying my tripod, or um, what time of day it is. Everything is being documented on every one of these videos, and they're really good for teaching. And I'll zoom in on an object, and then I'll put my lens attachment on and show the same object as an airplane. But before I put the lens attachment on, it was an airplane tic tac that everybody sees. So things like that. Flares. I captured flares, and they looked like UFOs, and I go, see, this looks exactly like what everybody saw on March 13th, 1997. One of these big lenses,
Oh wow,
put
yeah,
this
yeah,
on the camera.
yeah.
So it teaches you, holy mackerel, I'm wrong on a lot of these sightings, and so are a lot of other people. And that's why I've been doing what I've been doing, because I realize how they're making the mistakes. They're accidentally making UFO videos look good by not focusing in all the way, or a little shake to it, or just a little bit fuzzy. They just know how to fake stuff now more than ever.
No,
Yeah, I think.
yeah, go ahead,
Go
Frenchie.
ahead.
No, 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 go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that's why you're such a crucial part of like the community and everything, because again, because I always talk about, because I'm getting back into like research and stuff, is people don't know where to begin with something like that. So I think it's really important for people to learn stuff like that. And if they want to start doing it on their own, it again eliminates the flooding of a bunch of just BS and everything. And you get a little bit more realism out of stuff. And a lot of people just don't know how to do that. And I think also people that are genuinely interested in going out and trying to find sightings and do research and stuff like that, it brings a little bit of authenticity to it, and it eliminates a lot of that clickbait bullshit and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody's more apt to want to get like the real and the 100% authenticity, the more they know how
Yeah.
to get that authenticity. And a lot of people
Well,
don't, so they just
they don't know. Right. Let me
yeah.
ask you this. Out of all the people you guys watch,
Yeah.
who is the sky watcher full time with the
I,
camera in hand doing a
Don't
podcast?
know.
nobody.
Couldn't
Yeah.
tell you.
Yeah, nobody.
Me. I'm the only one.
Right.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying. I thought you talked about other people. Yeah. I mean, nobody from
No,
anybody else. Yeah.
that's what I mean. So nobody should be able to talk shit about any of the UFO sightings that I'm
Well,
talking shit about, because I understand the mistake that person made.
I mean,
I
this
know
is
how they did it, and I know what they're looking at. Other
yeah,
people wouldn't know because they didn't have the camera in hand and made the same mistake.
Correct.
yeah. I mean,
That's where I excel.
this is why that's why I mentioned to you, a couple weeks ago. I said, break down more videos on
Yeah.
your channel. It's fun to watch you do that, man. Not
Mhm.
no who else does that on a constant basis. It's definitely a great thing to have. I mean, I just hope you do more, and I want to see more of your stuff. Obviously, hopefully you can get it digitized. I know it's expensive if you have someone else do it. My dad had took all his old Vietnam footage, and my sister took all of it and got it all digitized for him, and so it's on all these DVDs, and you can go back and watch it all. It's crazy stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
you
Well,
can.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say yeah. So I mean, if you have a way to do that, I mean that'd be awesome content, man, for sure. They'll go through and break all those
Well, I
down.
have to connect the camera to the computer, and I have the
Oh, I see
capture
what you're
card.
saying. Yeah.
So I have to put a high 8, onto the computer, and then it's not, for some reason it's just not working. It's just bizarre. I don't understand why. But I'll figure it out eventually.
Well, let me shift gears just a little bit,
Yeah.
Rich. Is there anything about you that you would really like everyone to just understand better about you? I mean, you talk ufology on your show constantly. We don't get as much personal. Is there something that you want to tell everybody about you, or maybe something you want to I don't know. I just leave the floor open to you to express yourself.
No, I don't know. Like what? Like
I don't
I
know.
mean,
I just anything.
I
I don't know.
talk. I have talked about my life so much. I think I've told everybody everything. I mean, I like taking long walks on short piers. I can tell you that. I like looking up at the stars every day. It's a joke every day. You know,
Oh,
can't
but I
see
mean,
them during the day.
no, I get it. I mean, I just sometimes, no matter how public people are, you never
Yeah.
know. There's always some gem that they said, you know what, I've never told people about, and I want them to know about me. You know, and those are sometimes really amazing things to learn, and it can really
Um,
open up, you know, a good view or a different view of the person that we've just never had. I'm interested in stuff like that. I like to learn about
mhm.
and talk to people that I find interesting. So, you know, it's interesting for me to, you know, I want a behind the scenes.
I won 1993 the Best Symmetry Award for bodybuilders.
How long were you doing that?
Oh, I bodybuild like I mean I've been working out for 38 years, but I did bodybuilding for like 22, 21.
So
Yeah.
That's
Pumping
a
Iron's
long
your favorite
time.
movie of all time, or
It's a good movie, but it's not the greatest, but I really liked it. Yeah, it was fun.
what's better in that genre? Oh, do you have a what's your recommendation for a movie in the bodybuilding genre?
Oh, there's one called Generation X, I believe. I can't remember. I'd have to go on Netflix to see it. I can't remember. There's a couple out there. Generation X, I think it is. Yeah, I think that's the name of it. I don't know. There aren't a lot of good bodybuilding movies out there. They have like strongman movies, you know, guys who wanted to be strongmen and compete, and then they went into the whole steroid thing, and I thought that was interesting. Schwarzenegger admitted it. By the way, if you haven't seen it, I think it's Netflix. I'm not sure, but it's called Arnold. Have you seen it?
Um,
I've heard about it.
yeah,
I
not
haven't
It's
yet.
seen
a
it
No, not
though.
yet.
Arnold Schwarzenegger does a 3-part series about himself, all of his accomplishments, how he came to America and became the bodybuilder actor,
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
how he got into politics and married into the Kennedys, and then who he is now. And he said at 75 years old, what's next? Back to work. And that, you know, that's how it ends. So he's got one more chapter in his life.
He's
Very
still,
good.
yeah, he's still going. He's still
You got
working
to
out.
see it. If you haven't seen it, it's really great nostalgia. If you like Arnold, especially when he talks about, well, everything, the whole thing's good. He's a real interesting guy. He's a very smart guy.
Yeah, I always
I'll
liked
have
it
to
when
watch it.
he said when they ask him, you know, the wolf at the top of the hill, he's not as hungry. He goes, yeah, but the wolf at the top of the hill, when he wants it, it's there. He had
Amazing.
some one-liners, man. Oh man, dude, what a natural entertainer he really was. Or is still, you know,
He's amazing. He really
incredible.
is. I've always respected Arnold. I never met him, but I've been around him. I've seen him. He's a lot bigger in person. Lou Ferrigno was pretty big too. I met him. Yeah, but he's an asshole.
You're gonna be the best, Louis, the best ever. His
Oh
dad was
yeah,
great.
yeah, I know. I got one more, Dad. I got one more. Come
That
on,
was,
Dad.
oh man, they were
You can do
wild.
it, Louis. You can beat him. You're better than him. I know, Dad. You got that retard strength. I know, Dad.
His dad was a riot,
I'm
huh?
sorry. That's not nice.
I
Gotta
mean,
forgive me for that.
nah, you got him.
He's deaf. He's not retarded. Calm down.
No,
You're
I
gonna
know,
have to
I get
edit
it.
that out now.
Yeah. Well, I guess you know we're usually about an hour and a half, Rich.
See, I said the word. Now it's time to go. I
No,
said the
no, it's
bad
not.
word.
No, it's not.
I said the R word.
No, trust me.
Get him out of here.
Listen, I mean, I hate to admit it, but I mean, we're on my 18th question, and we've really went through it, and of course I appreciate you, but I gotta save this question for last because I think it would really be a good kind of insight from you. What is the lasting impact, Rich, that you want to leave on ufology?
That my videos will prove intelligence And even though they're dots, a lot of them, but you can see there's some intelligence with what I have, especially in my fleet videos. That I never backed down to what I believed in. And I want to leave that mark on ufology. No matter who you are, what you believe in, if you believe in it and you're honest with yourself and everybody else, do not back down to anyone for anything. And I've learned in this field with many years of trolls and many death threats and all sorts of things that have come my way. And it could be happening. It could be any minute. You never know. There's people out there who do crazy things. But this field is dangerous. So if you're going to get in it, just know this. Somebody's always watching. And I was followed. I even have a video called Spy Guy. And I was followed by a couple of, I think they were FBI guys, a guy and a girl. You'll see that video someday. I want to make my mark as being somebody who is always one step ahead of the lie, because I seem to be predicting everything that always comes true. So I'll say that, and that's it. I'm never wrong, and I'm always right.
No, I mean, tremendous. Rich, I probably wouldn't have maybe started this show completely if it wasn't for your channel. That's why when we had this channel, this has been a couple of years process for me that I've went through, and going from a heavy kind of believer to having my eyes opened up by many other people, not just yourself, but there's others that I've learned a lot from down the way. And so it's just I want to thank you for the effort and the time you put in. I know everybody doesn't agree with everybody all the time, but I think you have done great things, and I think there have been great conversations, and I think you do get to people and do bring some truth and some realization. And I think that's important. I think you stand amongst some of the most important people that are in this field for a conversation. I know it might sound crazy to some people, but I do. Anyone that's trying to bring some truth to the field that has a good voice for that, you got to tip my hat to. And so I really want to thank you for coming on and having us on your show and having the panels and letting everybody talk. And it's a great thing. And so I really appreciate you coming on. I hope you had fun, man. I've never done an interview, set up an interview before. It's the first one ever. So I hope it went well.
Dude, it was flawless. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. And I wish you guys like the best of luck. And I think we can work together, help each other, open up some eyes. And I'm always there if you need help as much as I can be. So thank you for having me on. Yeah, you're welcome.
And I do want to thank
what you said.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. It's from the heart. And thank you everybody in chat. I know we do this kind of more like a podcast thing where we don't always super engage with chat. However, maybe when we do guests, we'll do a little bit more. Donovan, YOY. I mean, everyone, all the GUFONians that have come over. Tremendous support. We're barely breaking 100 subs here, and we got a ton of viewers tonight. It's incredible. You see? Yeah,
130 subs now.
We're at 130. Oh, man. So we've jumped up 40 some. Look, it's a long process, and we're new, and we're trying to get better. I hope we are, and we hope to see you guys continuing to come around, and obviously go to Rich's channel if you somehow don't know this guy and you're here, but
but that's great. Earlier tonight, it was, I think 96.
Yeah.
So everybody went over, or yesterday, I think it was. Yeah. So that's cool, man. You got a few. Good going, GUFONians. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're good. No, we're free rolling now. It's kind of the ending here, but even though you guys have sub, don't forget, like, share, subscribe. It definitely helps the algorithm. And we couldn't thank you guys even more. Have a great rest of your weekend, Rich. Have a wonderful Saturday night, Sunday night. And, when are you back on again? Back on Monday?
I'll be back on Monday. Yep.
All right.
7 p.m. Eastern, right here on the tube.
All right. Beautiful. And obviously, if you are new somehow and don't know Rich, get out from under the rock that you're under. But there is a link that you can crawl. When you get out from under the rock, you can click the link. And we really appreciate it. You guys have a great rest of your night. Rich and you want to hang out after. We're gonna go ahead and do our exit.
You want me to hang out?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have a small chat afterwards. But thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Appreciate you.